Welcome to the Latino Excellence Podcast with talented Chicago area artist Liz Flores. Liz, thank you very much for joining us on the Latino Excellence Podcast. I have to be honest with you, I saw your jersey that you did for the Cubs, and I immediately thought, I need to get this for my oldest daughter. And then I sent it to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's from Iowa, lifelong Chicago Cubs fan, and with Anthony Rizzo retiring, we love I'm from LA, so I born and raised a Dodgers fan, but the Cubs have been such an important part of our lives, and I want to talk to you about that Cubs jersey and who is this person behind this Cubs jersey. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and how did you get this commission? How were you commissioned to do this jersey?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. So I'm an artist. I live in Chicago. I've been working in Chicago for 10 years now. And I mean, it all really just it started with an email. I got an email from the Cubs about designing the Hispanic Heritage jersey that was going to be, coming out this September. And so I got the email. I mean, it was probably like maybe a little less than a year ago. And we started working on it in the new year. And but I've worked with a couple of different sports teams in the city. And so, I think the Cubs just kind of had seen my work in different places and happily, they reached out. And so I'm excited. It's been really fun to work on it. It seems like such a long process. It felt like for a long time, oh, the jersey's not coming out for months. And then now we're here and the jersey is going to be coming out. So it's exciting to just finally have it be here.
And you're a painter and a muralist. How does one become how do you transition to do that? And because obviously big mats, big walls, big places, and now a jersey.
Oh yeah, it's different. It's really different. I feel like going from designing apparel is so different than something like a flat surface. And so I think for me, I almost kind of like that, though. It's like a challenge. It's and it's good to just kind of flex also your skills as an artist. I think going from paintings to then murals and things like that, I try not to complicate it too much in my head. It's really just scale. And then obviously for apparel, you have to just think about it in terms of when people are wearing it, what is it going to look like and what's the design how's it going to move and things like that. But I think it's just been a really fun challenge. And so, murals are really fun. I always enjoy doing murals because you get to interact with more people versus when I'm working here in my studio and I'm painting, I'm by myself and it's more of a solitary work. And so it's kind of nice to go back and forth between doing a mural job and then doing, maybe creating a series of paintings for a show or something like that. So.
And you have Mexican roots, Cuban roots, and are any Mexican artists, Cuban artists, were they inspirations? I know, at least on the Mexican front, with Diego Rivera, and all these great muralists in Mexico. Who were your inspirations? And you're so young that Diego Rivera is probably not one of those inspirations.
No, absolutely. I mean, absolutely an inspiration, like Frida Kahlo. I think honestly, for me, I love looking at the greats and looking at the people who are in the history books and things like that. But I love looking at Mexican artists or just any Latino artists that are doing contemporary art today, that are doing it now, specifically women. And so Hilda Palafax, who is in Mexico, Mexican artist, does fantastic, beautiful work. Anna Leovi is another Latina artist, Mexican artist. I believe she's based in Cancun right now. But I have one of her prints. One day I will have an original painting. But I feel like those are like a lot of the artists that I have either aspired to be like, or just like maybe just like what's it called? I gather inspiration, or I just love to see their work. And I love to look at like Latinas who are in the contemporary art space today. As much as I, of course, like am inspired by the past artists and things like that. But I think it's great to support and promote like the artists that are alive today and doing good work.
Wow, that's awesome. I have a set of questions, but before I go there, I want to ask you, how can we try to buy some of your work? Where do we go to find your work and hopefully buy some of it?
Yeah. I work with like a bunch of different galleries in Chicago, and then I have some galleries in New York, LA, as well as Italy. And so I mainly sell my paintings through galleries. I sometimes will do I'll do like some studio visits sometimes, and people can come and look at paintings here. But a lot of times the paintings are going to galleries. So if sometimes people will be like, I really like this painting, where can I buy it? Because I post everything on social media. I will direct them to like where the painting is being held or sold, and usually the gallery will just take care of that. But as far as like, sometimes I do commission work as well, and so I always tell people like, let me know, like commission, if you're interested in something like that. I only do a few of them a year, but they are very special and personal. I work one-on-one with people to make something very unique for their home. And yeah, and then in terms of like the apparel stuff, like the Cubs stuff, and those things are, I mean, they're like limited edition giveaways for the game. But if I ever have like a contact or someone I can send people to, like I will send them. So I feel like the art is kind of everywhere. I always tell people like, what are you looking for specifically? Which, is there a specific painting? Because then I can give you like the contact. But I don't do any sales or anything like on my website anymore. I used to do painting sales through there. But yeah, just really not anymore. But
That's awesome.
Questions, I will always like DM back.
That's awesome. And for people who don't know, what are your social media handles?
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm Lizito, Lizitto. And then my website is lizfloresart.com.
Well, that's great. What should folks know about Liz Flores in terms of who, what, where, when, and why? And I know we've addressed some of it, but what should people know?
I mean, I'm a Latina artist. I paint a lot of figurative portraits. Most of them are women. And I'm very much inspired by like Latinidad, being a Latina, just being a woman and womanhood, and doing a lot of just storytelling through my paintings. And so, I always hope that people can see themselves in the paintings or feel some sort of connection to the story I'm trying to tell through the painting, or what I'm trying to say through the painting. And yeah, I would say that's kind of who I am in a nutshell.
And that's awesome, because a lot of people who don't travel don't realize that Latinidad is so big
Mm-hmm.
and such a big part of Chicago. And when I talk about my favorite cities, Chicago, New York, LA, they're all pretty much interchangeable to me, because I could get great Mexican food at all three. I could see my Boricuas, I could see my Mexicans, I could see my Cubans. So that's a big part, right? That in Chicago. Were you a Cubs fan growing up? What did it mean to you when the Cubs asked you to do their Hispanic Heritage jersey?
Well, I feel like I got to be honest, because if my parents see this, they're going to be like, you got to be honest. I grew up a Sox fan. Don't come for me, Cubs fans. Don't come for me. Yeah, I mean, my parents, they took me to Sox games, but Um, a lot of respect though, always respect for the Cubs. And my family is very much a divided family, divided household. Well, no, the household was always Sox, but the family is like, we got so many Cubs fans and then we got so many Sox fans. So you kind of felt like you're pushed and pulled in all these directions. And when I got the email about doing something for the Cubs, I mean, I was ecstatic. I mean, they're an awesome Chicago team and they're iconic. And I was really, really, really excited. And when I told my family and my friends, I mean, everyone's like, are you kidding me? That's so crazy, you know? So, I was really excited. I am really excited right now. So, but I think just like anything that is representative, like Chicago, and just like something so iconic. I love Chicago. And so it is like such an honor to be making something for the Cubs, for Latinos who are Cubs fans. I definitely find it to be, like I said, like a big honor because I know that these teams really mean a lot to people and they mean a lot to me, but people like this is important to people. And so that's kind of like always in the back of my mind.
Well, and as a good Cuban mini minoso from the Sox, you almost like that's a gimme, right? One of the legendary
Yeah, yeah,
Hall of
yeah.
Famer, big time Cuban, the what we like to call the Latino Jackie Robinson of baseball. So yeah, that you have to be forgiven for being a White Sox fan. What has been the biggest highlight of your career so far?
I think that I think it was now 2 years ago. I had my first like museum exhibition. It was at the Elmhurst Art Museum in Elmhurst, Illinois, and it was the anniversary of the 50th year anniversary, I believe, of like Picasso, passing away. So they had like a retrospective, and they had some of his work, and they curated a separate section of the museum to have contemporary painters of today that are working in kind of a similar style. And so the curator of that museum contacted me for that show. And so it was like, Picasso work in one room and then my painting in the other room.
There you
And so
go.
that to me has been a huge highlight of my career. It's still something like I think about and stuff like that. I feel like when I have hard days, I just look back at those photos and I'm like, it's gonna be okay. But yeah, that was definitely a big highlight for me.
That is awesome. You're listening to the Latino Excellence Podcast with special guest, Chicago area artist Liz Flores, who on September 25th will throw out the first pitch at Wrigley Field the same day that the Hispanic Heritage jersey that she designed is given out. Liz, if you couldn't tell somebody you were a talented artist, what would you tell people about if you and my friends and my wife were all having dinner and we all said, guys, you can't tell anybody that what you do for a living, what would you tell all of us?
Oh my gosh. I feel like this is where I'm like, oh no, how embarrassing. Like the only thing is like I'm an artist. That one's kind of hard because artists, I don't know. It's such a big part of like my identity and like what I am consuming every day. But I guess I mean I would say um I would say like, well, like I would be like, I really like anime. I really like cartoons. I'm really kind of goofy. I'm kind of a huge nerd. And I feel like there's just a kind of a whole separate, maybe like personality or like part of me as an artist that probably not a lot of people get to see or that, it even comes up in conversation. But I feel like, especially like with friends and family, like that's kind of what like they see aside from just like Liz the artist, it's like, okay, yeah, she's like the goofy one, the one that wants to watch like Lord of the Rings like every single day. uh, so yeah, I think I would probably bring out more of the nerdy side.
There you go. Okay. What has been the biggest test for you in your life? You look fairly young, so but in your young life.
Biggest test, I think. I mean, I think when I first got into art, it was just so difficult. I think it's just hard to um, go against the grain a little bit. So my parents, I did not study art, and my parents sent me for like to go to college to study business, and so I had a corporate job. I think one of the hardest things for me was like quitting my job, having to tell my parents that I was quitting and not going to be doing what they wanted me to do. I'm also like the oldest. I have a younger sister. So this was like very not, they're not used to me being the rebellious one. And, and then for the first couple of years, I did not make any money off my art, and I had a lot of odd jobs. And I think the feeling of like I'm disappointing like my family and I'm just disappointing myself, I think that has probably been one of the hardest times and hardest things to kind of get over.
Wow. Where'd you go to school and what did you study, and how difficult could be, because we don't, Latinos, we struggle to go against our parents' wishes. It's part of the culture. It's like,
Yeah, it is. I went to Illinois State. I studied small business management. And yeah, and I got a job right after college. Just doing absolutely nothing creative at all. It was like spreadsheets.
wow.
I know, it was the complete opposite. And then yeah, 3 years. I stayed in my corporate job for 3 years, and then I left to try and be an artist.
Liz, what does it mean to you to be a Latina?
Hmm. I feel like for me, like immediately what always comes up is like family. Like family, like I don't know, like there's like some kind of like a strong sense of like just like loyalty, a strong sense like just an overall strength. I feel like when that's what I think about like when I'm like, yeah, I'm a Latina. It's like strength, loyalty, this like resilience. I feel like there is just like a underlying resilience that is always kind of like running through like Latinos.
That's awesome. What are your goals for this year? You've accomplished so much, and clearly you've been working on this since January. So, but what are your goals for this year, for the rest of this year?
Mm, I think I don't know. Honestly, I feel like I've done a lot, and now I'm like, my goals. I've been doing a lot of murals. I've been doing, like I said, this Cubs jersey, and I feel like I have not made a lot of new paintings this year. Um, I've done a lot of group shows this year. I had a solo show last year, and so this year I didn't do any solo show work. I think I'm ready to like get back to sitting in my studio and making like a whole new body of work. I think that's like what's probably going to be next for me.
That is awesome. What advice would you give other young artists or young athletes?
Um, I would say it's like, I mean, I guess in terms of, I would say for artists, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like maybe this wouldn't work for athletes, but like, um, I think for anyone looking to do what they want to do, something like their dream job or something like that, it's a long game. So I'm like, you got to strap in. It's not going to happen overnight. And I feel like even if it does for some people, that's really not the reality for a lot of people. So I think be patient. Um, Most of the time it just requires you to like put your blinders on, put your head down, and just like work on your stuff. I Social media and things like that, it's like easy to be influenced and get like just like be comparing yourself to so many things and wherever people are at. That's when you gotta like put the blinders on and just focus on what you want to do.
You're listening to the Latino Excellence Podcast with Chicago area artist Liz Flores. Liz, we're almost done here, and I'm so grateful for this insightful chat. And two more questions.
Mhm.
One, if you could go back and give your 5-year-old self some advice, what would that advice be for young little Liz Flores, 5 years old?
Oh. I wish I would say um don't worry about what other people are thinking about you. I don't know if little Liz Flores would have taken my like heard my advice or anything, but I think for a lot of like my growing up, I was, it's like you're just trying to like fit in or make other people happy, and I think it would have just been like, don't worry about what anyone's thinking about you.
Wow, that's such great advice. Uh, and this is my favorite one, and we've asked everybody this question from because it's such important insight into what you believe in. We've asked Diane Taurasi, Maya Perez at Texas A&M. If you could have this sentence: Latinos should know that it's okay to. For instance, I would say Latinos should know that it's okay to ask for help, or Latinos should know that it's okay to embrace their greatness. How
Hmm.
would you? What would that sentence be like from Liz Flores? It's okay to.
I would say Latino should know it's okay to live an unconventional life. I think we come from a lot of tradition. We come from, obviously, like our families want us to be secure, happy, things like that. Um, when I chose to like be an artist and like do all these things, I mean, it is very unconventional, and I feel like I don't know, we don't always get pushed to just dream big and kind of live a little unconventionally, especially Latinas. And like I would just want to like give anyone who is maybe wanting to live life a little bit differently permission to like please do that. It's okay and you can do it. Um and I think for a lot of our families, like it's, at least like for, with like my parents, it's not that they were not supportive. I think they were just, they're just scared. They're like, well, we've never had like an artist in the family, we don't know what that means. What does that mean? Be like in a 9 to 5 with healthcare.
Right.
And so I don't know, I would say like please, like, live the life that you want to be living, and it is okay to live an unconventional life.
Wow, that's such great advice. You've been listening to the Latino Excellence Podcast with Chicago area artist Liz Flores. Liz, I really appreciate your time. If you hold on a little bit, we're going to put the outro out here. But thank you so much for your time, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.